Welcome to Devotions from Israel, a 5-minute word of encouragement. Today's devotion is from Psalm 23. Israel is a very unique country. As you see in this topography map, the heart of the land is what we call the hill country of Judah. It extends all the way through the hill country of Samaria. This is the backbone of Israel. And certainly the coastal plain and the north gets an abundance of rain, especially during the months of December, January, and February. And even March can be transitional with rain as well. But these regions, the biblical Negev and the southern highlands, all the way down to the Red Sea, and the Judean desert, are places that don't get much rain at all. And yet it's this context of the midbar, or the desert, especially the Judean desert, where we have set before us the words of Psalm 23. Let me read this familiar psalm for us in this short devotional. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Our focus in this devotion, by the way. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the darkest of valleys, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So you see these photos behind me as I share this psalm. This is the desert. This is primarily where shepherds take their flocks. Although in the rainy months, indeed, you'll see an abundance of shepherds taking their flocks of sheep and goats throughout the hill countries of Judah and Samaria. And certainly even in these wet months of the year, even the desert or the midbar can be at least somewhat green with vegetation. But for the other 6, 7, 8 months of the year, it's dry and desolate, as the psalmist tells us. So what's happening here with this phrase, green pastures? Does God promise a life of green pastures? Or if our experience reminds us of what life is all about, sometimes the seasons of life and the journeys of our faith walk, we encounter the dry areas, the dry moments of life where life sort of seems as if it's a desert, and with that, all the challenges as well that come with it. Well, green pastures can actually mean a green stubble of grass here and a piece of green stubble there. You see, the shepherd knows exactly what the sheep need. In fact, when we talk about the desert in the summertime, even the western winds and humidity can bring a dew to the morning in the desert. And this dew can actually create at least some vegetation. Maybe not a whole field of alfalfa or weeds for your sheep and goat to graze upon, but a stubble there, a stubble there. And in fact, when the dew comes, sometimes you can see that when you pick up a rock, and in fact, around the rock is where we see these stubbles of grass grow, even in the hottest of the months of Israel. So when a shepherd takes his flock here, he settles them down into these areas. And a sheep may graze on this stubble here and then walk a little further, and here's another stubble of grass. You see, the shepherd knows exactly what the sheep needs. I appreciate the ministry of Ray Vanderline, who said, God sometimes settles us down in pastures, and he knows exactly what we need for that moment. Now, if we take a look at life itself, we sometimes wish that life was like a continual green pasture where we didn't experience any of the dry moments in our faith walk or journey with God. Ray also quotes a rabbi who said, worry is dealing with tomorrow's problems in today's pastures. Now that's insightful as well, because when we take a look at a shepherd today and the flock grazing on maybe this piece of stubble here or there in the dry deserts of Judah, yet the sheep are well cared for by the shepherd who knows exactly and precisely what they need at that moment. So don't ever forget that God, our good shepherd, knows exactly what you need and what I need at that precise moment of life. So why worry about tomorrow, as Jesus said? Tomorrow has enough worries on its own. Our focus should be simply trusting and thanking God for his provisions for us right now, right at this moment, because he knows what we need. So be looking for those green pastures, or perhaps those pieces of stubble where we can feed and take joy and comfort in how God cares for us each step of our journey of faith. Until next time, shalom.